What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be talking about the very latest developments in the Boku no Hero story, including the fact that the villains have now seemingly completely turned the tables on the heroes. Just a few chapters ago, it seemed as if everything was going according to plan for the heroes, and the villains looked to be on the ropes. But in my previous videos, I warned that this is definitely a psych out by Horikoshi, and these last two chapters have definitely proven it. Major hero losses are coming. These last few chapters have changed everything, so let's get into it. If you enjoyed the Boku no Hero content on this channel and you want us to keep it going, please leave a like to let me know. And if you happen to be new to AnimeUproar, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. If you want to get notified, you really have to go through the trouble of clicking the bell and then selecting the option that says all. If you don't, you still probably won't see our videos even if you're subscribed. It's just how YouTube works. Finally, this video will of course contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers. We're talking about the latest events in the story, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. So, right as Shigaraki is finally awakening back in Jakku Hospital, the story switches focus yet again, and we find out what happened just moments earlier back at the villain mansion. You will recall that during the Hawks vs Dobby fight, Fat Gum had been running away from the mansion and using the Fat Taxi to carry Tokoyami, Kaminari, Juzo, and Mushroom Girl back to safety after they did what they had to do on the front lines. But as Fat Gum passed by the place where Hawks and Dobby were fighting, Tokoyami saw what was going on and he decided that he couldn't just leave Hawks to die. He considers Hawks to be his mentor, and so Tokoyami uses Dark Shadow to forcibly escape Fat Taxi. The young hero student then flies into the thick of the battle in order to save Hawks from certain death at the hands of Dobby. Fat Gum is shocked that Tokoyami was able to escape his fat, since apparently no one has ever been able to do that before. And Fat Gum yells at Tokoyami not to go because it's too dangerous. But Tokoyami has already flown away, and so Fat Gum has no choice but to let the other students go. He tells them to run the rest of the way on their own while he rushes after Tokoyami in order to protect him from getting deep fried by the villains. Tokoyami manages to fly into the building, and he puts himself and Dark Shadow between Hawks and Dobby. Dark Shadow is instantly shocked by the extent of Hawks' burns and other injuries. And meanwhile, Dobby is completely disgusted by how low the heroes have sunk. They were so desperate that they brought a bunch of high school students to fight for them, which is bad enough. But also, the heroes themselves are completely corrupt and hypocritical. At least according to Dobby. Throughout this chapter, Dobby is doing a lot of hero bashing, and there is a reason why he's talking so much, but we'll get to that in a little bit. First off, I really want to talk about the fact that Tokoyami just defied orders from his superiors during an active mission in order to help Hawks. I also want to again emphasize that knowing full well that Dobby's quirk is the generation of deadly flames, Tokoyami still had the cojones to step in between Dobby and Hawks in order to protect Hawks from future attacks. As much as this can be seen as a reckless and foolish move for a hero student to make, especially since he was specifically ordered not to do anything like this, you really have to respect Tokoyami. He has just shown extreme courage, and he has shown incredible loyalty to his mentor, Hawks. He deserves mad respect for that, but at the same time, he is also putting his own life and the overall plan at risk. This could definitely backfire massively, but we'll have to wait and see. Second, I am really worried about Hawks right about now. Judging by Dark Shadow's reaction, Hawks' injuries are terrifying, and his life is in serious danger. I mean, Hawks could literally die within the next chapter or two, and even if he survives, these injuries may prevent him from being a pro hero for the rest of his life. Things definitely look really bad for Hawks, and I think we should all be concerned about him. Granted, my primary concern and my absolute priority is best girl Miruko, as you guys all know if you've seen my recent MHA videos, but this Hawks situation is definitely scary as well. At this point, it really could go either way. Hawks might survive, or he might succumb to his injuries. Dobby then tries to make Tokoyami question his loyalty to Hawks by telling him what Hawks just did. Hawks just killed someone by stabbing them in the back, someone who considered Hawks to be his friend, as that person was trying to go out and protect his friends. Dobby is of course talking about Twice, and he is trying to say that even though Twice wasn't a direct threat to Hawks in that moment, and even though he was actually running away from Hawks, Hawks still decided to kill him for what he considered to be the greater good. Dobby is trying to get Tokoyami to question the nature of the pro heroes, and he tells Tokoyami that the pro hero ideal that he is dreaming of becoming is far dirtier than he thinks. The heroes are more corrupt than the villains, they just refuse to recognize it, at least according to Dobby. Clearly, Dobby really hates the hero society and the role of pro hero in particular. In some ways, this is similar to Stain, and we know that Dobby was inspired by Stain, but in other ways, Dobby's views are different from Stain's. Stain did believe in the hero ideal. He just felt that many heroes are corrupting that ideal in the pursuit of personal gain. But Stain did believe that real heroes still exist, including notably All Might and Deku. And yet, Dobby seems to loathe the very concept of pro hero. He doesn't seem to think that there are any good pro heroes out there. He believes that all pro heroes are dirty and corrupt hypocrites because the very notion of a pro hero is a lie. It is just an illusion that society has created, but the truth about pro heroes is far darker and dirtier than anyone wants to admit. But Tokoyami explains that he's just concerned about his mentor and teacher, making it clear that he isn't here to argue about philosophy or the nature of the hero society as a whole. Dobby is disappointed by this, and he launches yet another Fire Blast. Tokoyami quickly grabs Hawks, and he tries to get out of the way of the attack, but the room is too cramped, so he can't avoid the attack completely. And on top of that, Dobby's flame is making Dark Shadow weaker. Because, as we know, Tokoyami's quirk is stronger when it is dark, and it is weaker when there is a lot of light. Tokoyami quickly realizes that he needs to get out of this room as soon as possible. He needs to escape Dobby's flames and get Hawks to a doctor immediately. If they stay here any longer, Dobby is going to make chicken nuggets out of both of them. However, Hawks, as injured as he is, notices something important. Dobby is talking a lot. Instead of just finishing Hawks and Tokoyami off with overwhelming force, Dobby keeps talking about the heroes being corrupt and the problems of the hero society. It is as if Dobby is stalling because he can't just keep attacking over and over again. It is as if he is talking in order to buy time for himself, because overusing his quirk hurts Dobby's own body, so he has to pace himself. As Tokoyami is figuring all of this out with the help of Hawks, Hawks tells him to go now, and Tokoyami takes off with Hawks in his arms. They use Dark Shadow's powers to quickly escape to the lower floors of the building. Dark Shadow is actually quite weak in this moment because of all the light that had been coming from Dobby's flames, but it does manage to get Tokoyami and Hawks to the lower floors, but just barely. Once they're safe on the ground, Tokoyami realizes that Hawks is unresponsive, but thankfully he is still breathing. Since down here on the lower floors there is no fire, Tokoyami prepares to use Black Fallen Angel to fly away with Hawks. But in that moment, Dobby suddenly shows up in front of them, and it appears that he is actually flying. Just like Endeavor, Dobby seems to be able to concentrate flames around his feet and then use this ability to temporarily propel himself through the air. I mean, what a shocker that Dobby's quirk has so many similarities to Endeavor's, but let's move on. Dobby then prepares to launch another Fire Blast at the two heroes, but he is suddenly interrupted by what looks like a massive avalanche. Getten has finally entered the chat, and he is able to use his overpowered ice manipulation abilities to force the massive Mount Lady to fall back and crash into a bunch of trees. Now that is power. Being able to send even someone like Mount Lady in her giant form absolutely flying into the distance. Other heroes appear to be caught up in Getten's attack as well, and essentially Getten's attack has almost single-handedly disrupted the hero siege. It looks like Getten might have just changed the entire momentum on the battlefield. Thankfully, Tokoyami is able to use Getten's attack as a distraction, and he manages to escape from Dobby with Hawks in his arms. With tears in his eyes, Tokoyami cries out to Hawks that he is not corrupt and that everyone believes that he is doing the right thing. Tokoyami then begs Hawks not to die, and I think that we all feel the same. After all, if Hawks does regain consciousness, he will immediately be able to reveal the secret of Dobby's identity. The secret which Dobby revealed to him, but which was hidden from us, the readers. Dobby revealed his secret because he thought he was gonna kill Hawks anyway, so Hawks could never get a chance to reveal it to anyone else. But now that Hawks escaped with Tokoyami's help, he could reveal the truth to everyone, as long as he actually survives and regains consciousness. The action then shifts to the underground complex where Redestro and the other villains are still located. Redestro is trying to find his spare leg when someone calls out to him. Redestro is suddenly informed that Gigantomachia just stood up. He is finally moving, and Gigantomachia even says that he can smell his master's scent. And that is how this action-packed chapter ends, with the tables quickly turning on the heroes at the mansion, and with the momentum shifting in favor of the newly awakened Shigaraki and the villains. Tokoyami and Hawks seem to have gotten away, but Getten's attack looks like it threw a major wrench into the heroes' plans. And of course, the fact that Gigantomachia is now on the move is extremely bad news for the heroes. Gigantomachia can level an entire city. He is an absolute monster, so his awakening is no joke. The heroes believed that Gigantomachia wouldn't do anything because he only takes orders from All For One, and All For One is in prison. But on the final page of this chapter, Gigantomachia says that he can smell his master's scent. Now you might think that when he says master, Gigantomachia is actually referring to All For One, but he could also be talking about the successor of All For One, Shigaraki. It is quite possible that he is actually referring to Shigaraki, since Shigaraki has just awakened around that exact time. And of course, All For One's quirk, the real All For One and not the copy, has also just awakened inside Shigaraki. I wonder if that is why the master's scent is now coming off of Shigaraki himself. Shigaraki's body has changed drastically in order to accommodate the quirk All For One. And so perhaps Gigantomachia now senses and smells this change. In regards to Dobby, I think it's important to mention that some panels in this chapter were clearly emphasizing the fact that Dobby's quirk definitely damages his body when he overuses it. This is a major limitation of his otherwise overpowered quirk, and when you think about it, this might be the reason why his father Endeavor didn't consider him to be a good enough of a candidate for surpassing All Might, and so Endeavor gave all his attention to Shoto instead. Everything is finally falling into place and coming together to explain the truth about Dobby. And at this point, I am absolutely assuming that he is Toya Todoroki. I believe that he had a powerful quirk and Endeavor wanted to push him to be stronger than All For One, but because of his drawback that harmed his body, he just couldn't do it. And I think for this reason, Endeavor rejected him, traumatized him, and turned him into this villain known as Dobby. I would be absolutely shocked if the truth ended up being anything other than that. Man, I can't believe that just a few chapters ago, things were looking so good for the heroes. In both locations, Jakku Hospital and the Villain Mansion, they had the element of surprise, they had made the first move, and they were seemingly accomplishing all of their goals. The villains were losing and the heroes were winning. But now, with Shigaraki's awakening, Getten's epic gamer move, and the rising of Gigantomachia, things look very different. The heroes no longer have the element of surprise, and they no longer have the momentum. Things are about to get very ugly for the heroes in both locations, and I have a feeling that all the hero students will end up becoming a lot more involved in the fight on the front lines than they ever thought they would be. Man, this is getting so crazy and so freaking good. Again, I'm loving this chapter, and other than the fact that I really want Miruko to survive, and if she doesn't, I will riot, I'm extremely excited about how this arc is moving forward, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Important characters, including heroes, are definitely going to suffer, and some will die. There is just no way around it with everything that we've seen so far. And no matter what happens, the Hero Society will never be the same again. The truth about Dobby will be revealed. Gigantomachia, Shigaraki, Getten, and the others will cause major damage to the heroes, and a number of top-tier heroes like Hawks and Miruko have already been severely injured. These are society-changing events that are currently taking place in the Boku no Hero story, and things will never be the same again. Please let me know what you guys think. Will Hawks regain consciousness and reveal the truth about Dobby? Are the heroes about to get absolutely slapped by Shigaraki and Gigantomachia? Who will survive and who will die? Please share your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and you want us to keep it going, please leave a like to let me know. It really does help. And if you happen to be new to AnimeUproar or you just haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. I want to give a big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons for supporting our work and making these videos possible. Special thank you to Efren A, a disciple of Lord Twigo himself. Another important thank you to all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who stand above all other clans, including Ingrata, Alolan Atom, The World, Steelers, Dyson Quirino, A Quiet Respect, Pate Hefa, Jonathan King, Desi D, Brandon Aviles, and Emperor Otaku. Finally, I can't forget all of our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Nothing But a Fan, Jason Wilson, King Zeldris, Anatoly Kazatsky, Angel Cruz, iSparky65, Cricket XP, Ted No Ted, Joe Stanton, Very Gucci, Alicia Octor, Anamole69, Jessica Kayla Fond, Hinokami and Water, Bonnie Parks, Zodiart12, Rathuin Deora, Emperor, Mitch Loves Anime, and JCC Waka. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value to you, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these amazing people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.